Your Houston Texans have an unbelievable day. They break the NFL, they break the internet. Not one blockbuster, two blockbusters. I felt like it was before 10 a.m. We're going to get into the David Montgomery trade, the Tytus Howard trade. What does this mean for Houston? What does it mean for your Houston Texans? And are they closer to the Super Bowl tonight than they were this morning? We're going to dive into all of it, plus some extra contract details out there, what it means for the salary cap. All of that right here on Kicking It with Kunkel. Oh, what a day it was for the Texans. First question, I'm going to put it in the chat. Do you think the Texans are better tonight? Got better today. Let's see. You guys don't forget, become members. We've already got Jay Wilkerson in the house. My man coming in hot with the membership. My dude, appreciate the support. Appreciate what you bring to the table. See if I can pin that real quick. I should have done this before the show, but I was busy having dinner instead. And shout out to Socorro Tequila, sponsor of Kicking It with Kunkel, quickly becoming Houston's most popular and best tequila in town, no doubt about it. We're going to be doing a whole lot of fun things with opening day, hopefully, as well as the Cougars run in March Madness as we dive into all of that. So Socorro Tequila, it's additive free. This is what it looks like. You can get it at Premier Liquors. You can get it anywhere pretty much in Houston. Socorro Tequila, Blanco, Reposado, Anejo. It is additive free, 3 ingredients alone, blue agave yeast and water. Make sure you guys get it. Justin Wilkerson, my guy. Let's hear it for the brother. Anybody else become a member? Make sure you guys like this video as well. Subscribe to the channel, Kicking It with Kunkel. That's what's up. And make sure you guys hype the video when it's over. I don't know if that's a new thing on YouTube, but it allows you to hype a video. And what happens when you hype a video is it helps me and it gets into people's algorithms, et cetera, et cetera. So you guys get involved with the super chat as well. Let me know what your thoughts are on today's trades. Do you like them? Do you think the Texans are actually closer to getting to the Super Bowl today than they were last night? So I kind of view both of these trades as chess versus checkers. First, we'll start as kind of how it went today. Tytus Howard, offensive lineman, now traded to Cleveland. Kind of sucks for him. He's got to go to a really bad team after being on a really good team. No longer relevant, and it's for a fifth rounder. I'm surprised it was only a fifth rounder because then I think maybe this is why, because Cleveland's going to pay him. So we got paid like a top lineman, 3 years, $63 million. That's a massive contract. At no point were the Texans going to give him that type of contract. They wanted to get younger, as Tytus said in a statement. So he has no beef with this. He kind of saw it coming. It was the writing on the wall a little bit for him. So I like this move, but it's a chess move. It's not a checkers move because it's the first move to set up the next move and ideally the next 3 moves. Tytus Howard, obviously not in the future, but now they need to get – so now they're locked in with Ariante Ursary at left tackle. That's their left tackle's position right now. Jarrett Patterson, left guard, Jake Andrews, center, Sidney So, and Blake Fisher on the right side of the line. I laugh because this is not going to be your offensive line come training camp, let alone opening day next season. And if it is, just become Cowboy fans, y'all. Because if this is your opening, did I freeze? What just happened? There we go. I'm back. If this is the offensive line going into next season, the season's over. Like, it's an absolute wrap. It's not going to be. I just wanted to create some engagement. We got some engagement. So, see what people think about the fact that Sidney So, based on who is under contract and on the depth chart, is your starting right guard. A guy that lasted 9 plays when the coaching staff thought that that was the right move earlier this season, or last season, I guess. So anyway, they now need to get 4 offensive linemen, in my mind. Because if they don't, it's because they keep Jake Andrews. Patterson, So, and Fisher are not going to be your starting linemen. Juice Scruggs got shipped out, by the way, for some of you that are worried about why he's not on that list. Juice Scruggs was shipped out in a later trade that we'll get to, the David Montgomery trade, of course, that really kind of got fans' attention, because anytime you get weapons, everybody notices it and everybody cares. But the Tytus Howard move is a lot like the Laramie Tunsil move. Laramie Tunsil, for different reasons, but Laramie Tunsil was traded because he was not good for that room. He was not a great leader. He was a captain, and I'd always kind of was weird to me that he was a captain, yet he would never speak to the media, he would never talk to, at least not on record, go on camera or anything like that, and he just was not a good leader. Tytus Howard, when Laramie was around, kind of fell into some of the same habits as Laramie Tunsil. So they now get rid of Tytus Howard. For the second straight year, they get rid of their best offensive lineman on a line that is not good. So they're going to have to get very aggressive in free agency, and they're going to have to get aggressive in the draft. I mean, this nonsense that Nick Caserio talks about with we don't draft for need has to stop. And he acts like he doesn't know what it even means. He said before, like, I draft for need. I don't even know what that means, draft for need. We just take the best player on the board. I understand that, and yes, that's generally what you want to do. And I've told people this story before when I covered the Hornets in Charlotte. I talked to Mitch Kupchak, their general manager, and I asked him, like, what kind of player do you want in the draft? And he would say, I don't care. I just need talent, because we're so bad that it doesn't matter if I get a center or a point guard, shooting guard, who cares? I just need talent on this roster. That's not where the Texans are. The Texans are a spot where they need to fine-tune. They need to go in with a scalpel when we're looking at the whole 53-man roster, and they got to get better in particular spots. Now, if you want to zoom in, they got to restructure the entire offensive line, like 4 out of 5 guys. Ariante Ursary at left tackle is the only lock that you have at this moment, assuming you keep him there. I saw somebody on X ask me if I thought that the Texans would go after Trent Williams, who's a free agent with the 49ers. And while that would be an awesome get, because he would revamp that entire room's mentality, it would revamp the entire offense's mentality, I don't think that the Texans want to get rid of someone like Tytus Howard, who's a little older, but then go even older, even though Trent Williams is really, really, really good, and sign him, because Trent's probably going to want a multi-year deal. He's not going to want a 1-year deal or a 2-year deal, which the Texans would really want, probably even a 1-year deal. They're going to go young in the draft, obviously, and then they're going to have to swing big somewhere in free agency as well, because this offensive line, as I just showed you, as it sits right now, is bad. I saw someone else on X got in my mention saying that there's offensive lines in college that are better than what they have right now. So, okay, Justin. So Justin's a buddy of mine. And this dude, to get off track here quite significantly, I saw this guy at a watering hole, and I did the rodeo run on Saturday. No free shout out, so I'm not telling you the watering hole. And he was like, you did the rodeo run 3, and I was like, yeah, it's only 3 miles. He goes, you did it nonstop? I was like versus what, dude? Like, stop after a mile, like, what, take a rest, take a break, relax, like, catch up on some emails? I was like, it's only 3 miles. It takes you less than a half hour. So he says 3 miles nonstop. What a dog I am, indeed. Anyway, getting back to the point, but if you're a member, you can cut the line and you can say whatever you like, or if you hit the super chat up, you can cut the line, say whatever you like, and you're going to pop up on the screen, at least within reason. Don't do anything stupid, people. So where was I? Oh yeah, this is your offensive line, and you have to get 4 new offensive linemen, maybe 3 if you're going to keep Jake Andrews. That's the only one you would really keep at this point, which brings me to my next point. One of the worst short yardage offenses and defenses, actually, but one of the worst offenses in the NFL when it came to short yardage, especially at the goal line, were the Texans. So this doesn't help them right now, but that's why I say this is a chess move in trading Tytus Howard, because there are other moves to follow. This was more of a checkers move afterwards when they traded for running back David Montgomery. This was a high price to pay, I think. 4th rounder, a 7th rounder, and Drew Scruggs. Drew Scruggs, fine, whatever, write him off. He supplied nothing for the Houston Texans. The 7th rounder, fine, nothing, I don't care. The 4th rounder, you can get a really good player in the 4th round. And then you tack on the other things. So I would think maybe a 5th rounder would have been better. However, if you're the Texans, this is how you look at it. You don't know what you're getting in Joe Mixon, if you're getting Joe Mixon back at all. So you have to go out there and make a move, because you can't be there holding your you-know-what when the season starts thinking, all right, we're going to bank on Joe Mixon, and Joe Mixon never comes back, because they were in a little bit of that type of situation last year. That's why they had to go out and get Nick Chubb. Someone in my mentions said today that they didn't like this trade because Nick Chubb and David Montgomery had similar stats. Like, stop that noise. Stop that. Nick Chubb couldn't beat out Woody Marks. Nick Chubb has very little, if anything, left in the tank right now. I thought he was used well last year. He's a good downhill runner. He can be physical and then like unsparingly has some pop and some juice out in the open field and can make some plays. But like very rarely, very sparingly. That's not David Montgomery. David Montgomery was one of the best running back twos in the NFL, and is a starting running back in the NFL if he wasn't behind one of the best, if not the best, and most productive running back in the NFL last year in Jahmyr Gibbs. Montgomery wanted out. He wanted out because he was never going to get the carries that he wanted or that he deserved that would allow him to get paid. So this is where he wanted to be. He said he wanted to be at Houston. The Lions worked with him. And so here he is. And he wants to be here because the carries are here. DeMeco Ryans wants to run this ball downhill. He wants to be physical and he wants to be aggressive. He wants to be able to rely on the defense, control the ball, and be able to control the clock as well, which ironically, they really did control the clock well last year. But they were so bad offensively where it mattered most on short yardage and in the red zone and on 3rd downs that they were not able to ever really convert that time of possession into points, which is really unfortunate. By the way, I don't know if you guys saw this, but my mom got me this. Thanks, Mom. She said she was tired of seeing me drink out of bottles on the show. The show is much more professional than a bottle being drank out of. I agree. So I like the Montgomery trade because it's a checker move. Like, boom, done. You jumped a piece and finito. Like, you got what you needed. You had to get a running back. And I bet you the Kenneth Walker asking price was too high. Oh, and Texans Cap actually put out a tweet saying that I believe, because it was initially reported that it was a 5th rounder for David Montgomery, which I was like, that's a steal. And then it got turned into a 4th, a 7th Andrew Scruggs. So it sounded like somebody tried to swoop in once they saw that 5th round report or something like that happened. And the Texans kind of had to ante up their offer. And so I have no problem with the 7th or Drew Scruggs. It's funny that Dan Campbell, the Lions head coach, said that they really want to run behind Drew Scruggs because he's like a mountain of a man or something like that. He's a brick wall. It's like, yeah, he's a big boy, but he couldn't crack the starting lineup. Like, he never even got a sniff last season as a starting lineman on a team that really wanted to run the ball downhill. So, Dan, I wish you well, and I wish Juice well. I just don't see that happening. I don't see that part taking place because he didn't do it here. So in what world would it ever happen? Make sure you guys like this video, by the way, guys. Please like the video, hit up the super chat, and make sure you guys subscribe to Kicking It with Kunkel on YouTube. If you're watching on X, I love it. That's where most of the viewership comes from right now. But YouTube's the best viewer experience, and it's better for me. And you can like the video there as well. So I like the moves today. I think that I grade the David Montgomery an A-. You have to overpay because you're in limbo with Joe Mixon, and you can't go into next season with Woody Marks being your running back 1. He might end up being a pretty good running back, but I don't think he's a running back 1. David Montgomery is a running back 1. And now you have a really nice tandem with Marks and Montgomery. And Marks is much more physical than people think. He's also pretty good in the open, as Montgomery is. But we didn't see Nick Haley use his running backs, Marks in particular, as a weapon out of the backfield as a receiver. He can do it. He can do it. He did it in college for years, whether it was USC for 1 year and then Mississippi State. And I heard someone on the radio say, yeah, well, he was in a Mike Leach offense, so like it's different. But to catch ball, it doesn't matter what offense you're in. You still have the capability and the physical talent to catch the ball out of the backfield and make plays. Like, it's in his repertoire, and Nick Haley needs to take advantage of that much more so than he did last year. Chris, what's up, dude? I ain't mad at the trade, says Christopher Jackson. I don't think is there anyone that doesn't like these? I'm going to go through some of the comments. Is there anyone that doesn't like these trades? I understand if you think that you overpaid for Montgomery, but you got to understand where you were and why you did it and why it makes sense. Because, again, the unknown with Joe Mixon. We have no idea what the deal is with him, and the Texans have no idea if he's going to be able to come back. In with the new, Tony is late. Come on, bro. Hey, I'm new to the show. I love what happened today. Paul says that. Paul, yeah, man, the team got better, but there are still so many moves to make. And now here's the scary part. Nick Caserio and this scouting department have failed time and time again when it comes to identifying talent on the offensive line and then knowing that they need to go get offensive linemen. I think this is so glaring this year when it comes draft time that they can't screw this up. They can't go wide receiver back-to-back like they did last year. I also said that going into last year's draft, that the offensive line was such a glaring issue that they were going to have to be aggressive. And they got Arian Tierstery, but they needed to get another player. They needed to put themselves in position to where when the offensive lineman they like comes up, whether trade up or trade back, they're there to catch them. That's what has to happen this year. So when Nick says that we don't draft for need, we draft for who's best available, but you got to put yourself in position so that who you need and what you need is there when your name is called. So trade up when the tackle or the guard that you like is about to be drafted and come up on your depth chart. Or trade back if no one is there that you like at offensive line. So what are the Texans' picks this year? I know they picked 28th overall, but after that, they pick. So last year or was that last year? What are they, 27th? Now, damn it! Now I just mixed up a whole bunch of stuff. No, it's 28th this year, right? Why can't I find one that actually breaks this down properly? I swear, dude. You can find anything on the internet except for what you need when you need it. I swear to goodness, 2026. I gotta narrow this down. I have to go chat GPT. Like, this just tells me round 1. I know they have a pick in round 1, HoustonTexans.com. All right, I'm just gonna go chat GPT. I should have had this up. I mean, if this isn't good TV or show or whatever. Yeah, okay, 20th overall, though, and then it's 38th, 59th, 69th. So let's just say, for argument's sakes, they're sitting there at 38th, and there's no offensive lineman that they grade out in that like area by that time. That means they have got to trade back so they don't overpay for the offensive lineman that they like, that the rest of the league may not see what they see. Or they need to trade up if they think that the next best lineman might get taken before they go. They need to put themselves in position to have success and get the guy that they need. So draft for need, but trade in order to put yourself in that position. I don't know why I feel like I need to break that concept down all the time, but with what Nick says always, I feel like I do. And I know he knows what we mean draft for need. But he acts like he can't move, and he moves all the time. Like, you can move and put yourself in position to get what you need versus staying pat at 28th. The two best linemen that were going to be available in the back half of the first round are gone. And now you're like, well, like the best player on the board is a wide receiver. We got to take him. Like, no, you don't. No, you don't. Trade up or trade back and get offensive linemen and get two, if not three. And then you have to get one in free agency. One, if not two. I mean, you got to get, I think they need to get 4 offensive linemen. I don't think Jake Andrews should be center. I have a video on my Instagram, my TikTok, and here on Kicking It with Kunkel on YouTube of Trevor Sikkema of PFF. He was a guest a couple weeks ago, which the interview is still like really, really good and timely right now until after the draft, probably. I suggest you guys go back and watch it because he had a great analysis on the K-State center. And I'm going to actually play it for you right now. Then you guys got to go watch this full interview with Trevor later tonight or tomorrow.
Is amazing. His core strength and balance and footwork are fantastic. I think that he could be the best center in this class. He started for the final 25 games of his college career when he was at Kansas State. Really solid overall PFF grades. It is sort of an up in the air center class where there's not, I mean, Connor Lew from Auburn sort of went into the year as the de facto top center, but then he tore his ACL early in the year. And so he's sort of dealing with that. And you got to think about that with the scouting report. I watched Sam Hecht in person at the Senior Bowl. I can count the amount of reps that he lost on one hand the whole week, all 3 days of practice. And that's including one-on-one drills that are very focused on the defense being able to win on a consistent basis. His grip strength is amazing. His core strength and balance and footwork are fantastic. He neutralizes and anchors super well. He handles power very, very well. He's got the footwork to be able to mirror guys on the interior when they're faster, more finesse rushers. I was so impressed with him. Well, I think that he could be the best center in this class. And I think that we're not talking about he's probably firmly a day 2 pick. I don't know if he's going to start to get like second round buzz, but like if you could get Sam Hecht in the 3rd round, I think that you're getting a starting caliber NFL center in the 3rd round.
Damn, they could use that. They need a center desperately in Houston. So that's Trevor Sikkema, by the way, of Pro Football Focus, PFF. Check his stuff out, but also check out that interview. It lives on my channel under, I believe it's under lives, because we did that one live. It's fascinating talking about the Texans, what they need to do. People keep saying Cade Mays. His PFF, for what it's worth, isn't. I guess he's graded. Does he grade out as a really good center now all of a sudden? Because I remember covering him when I was in Charlotte with the Panthers, and he never ended up being very good when I was there. That doesn't mean he's not now, but I'm also not going to tell you I watched interior offensive line play across the NFL. I don't. But a lot of people always bring him up, and of course Linderbaum as well, which Rafael says. Brandon said, which by the way, Brandon, thank you for clarifying. The 25th was last year, 28th is this year. Yes, yes, and yes. Yeah, Mays and Andrews seem fairly equivalent, says someone in the chat. And I kind of agree. You need to be able to get push on this offensive line for the Texans. This is what we ran up against the Broncos. They weren't able to score from the 1 yard line for several plays, and that's why you lost that game. And that may have ended up costing them the division as well, because I think if they won that game, I think they would have had it. I don't know. I can't remember at this point, but I do remember that was a huge game. You know what I hate about this is that I drink it righty, and so you can't see the lettering when I do it this way. So I got to do it maybe this way. But then my paw gets in the way. Whatever. Rafael says, is he a clear running back 1, or will it be a 50-50 split, 60-40-ish? At 29, does he still have explosiveness? I want to see what I meant to look this up. Talking about David Montgomery, his carries. So he had 158 carries last year, 185 before that. So not bell cow type, not crazy carries. Like over 200 is when you're like, that's a good amount, which he did in 23 with the Lions. He went over 200 carries. Shoot, he had 242 carries with the Bears in 19. 247, 225, 200, 219, And then he started splitting time with Jahmyr Gibbs when he had 185, 158 last year. So if there's a good thing, it's that he had limited carries last year, respective to the rest of his career. He was a touchdown monster in 2023 and 24. He had 13 touchdowns and 12 touchdowns, respectively. He had 8 last year. I remember Jahmyr just took all the carries last year. I mean, like all of them. He was on my fantasy. He had 243 carries. Jahmyr Gibbs did. He had 250 the year before. I mean, so if you put Jahmyr, like last year, Jahmyr Gibbs had 250 carries and David Montgomery had 185. That's a lot of runs. And that doesn't include the receptions. David Montgomery had 36 catches in 2024 out of the backfield, and Jahmyr Gibbs had 52. He had 77 catches out of the backfield last year. He nearly had 100 catches as a running back. Jahmyr Gibbs did. I mean, that's why the Lions wanted to move on from Montgomery. It was because it was a Jahmyr Gibbs show. And it's not that the Lions wanted to move on from Montgomery. I shouldn't say that. Montgomery wanted to move on from the Lions because he just wasn't going to get the touches. And like every time you give Demo the ball, you're not giving the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs. And when you have Jahmyr Gibbs, you want to give him the ball as often as possible, especially when you're paying him. You can't pay both guys either. And I assume David Montgomery is going to get a new deal. He's got a decent deal right now, and I think he's under contract until 27. I think that's right. But I think he's gonna want a new deal. He signed a 2-year deal in March. Is that so? He's signed right now through 27. He'll probably want another deal. They'll probably get that done, give him an extra year. That's my guess. And then get him to 30, and then I'll do it. After the combine, if I am the Texans, I'm looking at which, by the way, speaking of the timing of these deals, doesn't surprise me at all. I was talking to my wife about this. She was like, "Wow, like why did this all happen today?" It's, what happens is all the general managers, the coaches, the front office people all get together in Indianapolis for the combine. They talk, they have dinners, and this is where this stuff kind of gets flushed out. And then the days following, these are where these deals happen. I remember when I was in Charlotte, the Bryce Young trade, that was the same year the Texans drafted CJ Stroud and Will Anderson Jr. The Bears and the Panthers came up with a trade over dinner together at the combine that year. What was that? 22? Was it 22? Whatever it was. So that's when a lot of these deals kind of get flushed out and ideas get thrown around, which is kind of cool to think about. So 2 offensive line rebuilds and back-to-back. So I will push back on this, Eddie. Appreciate the comment. I will push back on this because last year was not a rebuild any more than this year is. And when I say that, it's all the same rebuild. The end product last year was never the end goal. And I understand it, like if Nick Caserio was watching this, he'd be like, it's never a finished product. Nothing's ever a finished product. It's always growing. It's always morphing. And I agree. But generally, like you can get a line locked in for a period of time, at least 4 to 5 guys for like 2 to 3 years, or at least you would like to. If you got really good guys, you want to keep them together as often as possible. But that was never the intent after going into last year. The intent was never to have that offensive line be together for 3-4 years. It was always, at least after the draft, because I still think that they were not aggressive enough in that draft to get the guys that they should have gotten. I say that, but it's always hard to say that just because you don't know everything. Like you're not aware of what all the pricing was. But when they started last year, they knew that this offseason was going to get them a little bit closer to where they wanted to be. Because like Trent Brown's old, they're not going to run him back. Drew Scruggs never had anything. They wanted to see if they had anything in Blake Fisher. They tried to start him several times in training camp going into this last season, and he couldn't hold a spot. Ariante Ursary showed that he could play swing tackles, right tackle, left tackle, and ended up at left tackle. That's when they traded Cam Robinson. That didn't end up working. So like it was a patch job last year, and anyway, and it probably shouldn't. Like it cost them their season. Doing the patchwork the way they did, it cost them their season. And in the NFL, it's never like, oh, you're a year early. Oh, you know, the window's still open. Like that window can shut so damn fast. So like when you're close enough to strike, you gotta be able to solidify those weak positions, especially the important ones, as well as you can. And they didn't really do that. Now maybe they re-signed Ed Ingram. That's a name I haven't brought up yet. I thought Ed played well early on last year. He did not play particularly well in the back end of last year. So yeah, it's going to have to be an overhaul, and it's going to be I think it'll be a better line next year than it was last year. I don't think you get rid of Tytus Howard without like a pretty good, like you don't have this on your roster right now and think we're good. Now I say that, and everyone remembers what Nick Caserio said to the fans at the kickoff dinner last year when a fan asked him about the offensive line, and he kind of looked down and was like, we're not worried about the offensive line. You shouldn't be either. Well, and Nick said at the podium at the combine that the offensive line played really well. Well, unless I'm looking at different stats, like the offensive line did not play well. The offensive line did not do what you want to do. Hence, you shuffled guys in and out all year long, trying to figure things, and you had someone that they call City So as your offensive line on your offensive line for 9 plays. You didn't have depth. You didn't have decency up front. Like it was just not good. You didn't have talent on the offensive line, not through and through. That's why you ended up where you were. And that's why CJ Stroud has happy feet, and that's why the game sped up for him, and that's why we are now in this situation in this offseason with CJ, because the offensive line was no freaking good. He could never trust it. He never knew when it was going to be good. I made this analogy last year during the season of, like, when the pocket's clean, why the hell isn't CJ standing tall making good throws? Like, he did from time to time, but he didn't do it consistently enough, and he knows that. But it's because when you get hit in the face 9 times, like if I hit you in your face 9 times, and then on the 10th time I go like that and you flinch and I call you a bitch, like it's going to be like, well, I mean, just punch me in the face 9 times, man. Like, of course I'm going to flinch, okay? All right? Like, I'm not an idiot. It happened again and again and again and again. And all of a sudden, like, yeah, I get a little twitchy. That's what happened to CJ Stroud last year. And I said going into last year, I was asked on a podcast if I thought that CJ Stroud's feet had gotten better. And I think that like maybe he feels more confident behind the offensive line. And I said, I thought that his feet were kind of in hibernation. I thought they were asleep. They were good. They were confident. They were steady until they weren't, until they were woken back up. And the offensive line allowed those feet to get woken up like pretty quickly in the season. Then they got better. They improved. The offensive line last year in 25 was better than it was in 24. Unfortunately, that doesn't mean it's good. It was just really, really, I think Stroud was sacked 52 times in 2024. That number definitely dropped, and the pressure rate dropped last year, but it's still not good. It wasn't even, maybe, I think it was definitely below league average where it ended up, particularly in the playoffs. Like, he was under pressure a lot. The irony behind that is the last time I looked, I can't remember what the stats were precisely. It's on my X somewhere if someone wants to do a deep dive. But his numbers throwing under pressure are second best in the NFL. I can't remember who was first. So like CJ does a pretty damn good job at throwing under pressure. It's just no way to live life. And it's not what it should. Like, the numbers are good amongst other quarterbacks when they're under pressure, but they're definitely not as good as they would be if he wasn't under pressure. You know what I'm saying? So they're good for being under pressure. They're not good overall numbers. They're just good for being under pressure. So, like, let's not force him to be under pressure so often to where he's got to, like, be Houdini. He's got to try to make all these plays. He's running for his life. He's taking hits over and over. And the hits are not good. They're not good for anybody, especially with this back-to-back concussions season to season. Kaiser says City Cell sounds like a name of a nursery rhyme. City, it kind of does. What character would he be? Would he be like an animal, like a blue whale of some sort? Tytus was the largest financial hurdle his team had, holding us back number one and number two. He was Mr. Shuffle versatile. Like that was his to Tytus's credit. He was a pretty good lineman. He wasn't great. Someone on a Facebook post said that he was a future Hall of Famer. Like what are you talking about, dude? Like, no, he wasn't. And no, he isn't. He was pretty good. But his biggest ability, especially for the Texans, was his ability to play all over the offensive line. A guy said he could have played center if need be. Like his versatility was his best attribute. And that will keep you in the NFL for a really long time. That will keep you employed for a really long time. And his availability. His versatility and his availability were his best assets. And that is something that the Texans needed desperately. I think he may have missed one game last year. Did he have a concussion? Yeah, he had a concussion. I remember talking to him in the locker room. He said he was throwing up the night before the game, or the night before. I don't know, one night. Like it was just really, really bad, really ugly concussion that he had. So Tytus was really good for the Texans. He provided a lot. Time to move on. That cap number is huge, and what the Browns signed him for is kind of crazy to me. Like truly. 3 years, $63 million. That's a monster-ish deal. It's a lot of money for a short term. And I hope he does well. Unfortunately, he's not going to because he's going to Cleveland. No one does well in Cleveland. Man, kind of a bummer for him. And again, this trade with Montgomery, I like it. It's what's necessary. It's the checkers move. You just have to get a running back. Like you have to get a running back if you're the Texans. And the asking prices for so tomorrow is franchise tag, by the way. 2 p.m. I can't remember off the top of my head. But tomorrow's the franchise tag deadline. Breece Hall's going to be tagged. And so you're not going to get him. Jets said that they're going to tag him. Kenneth Walker, probably asking price a little too high. So I like this David Montgomery. The Lions needed to trade him. The Texans needed him. It got leaked that it was a 5th-round pick for David Montgomery, which would have been like the steal of a century if you're Nick Casseri, if that's exactly how that worked out. And then you end up kind of have to overpay a little bit, but it's worth it because you have to know that you are good at the running back position going into the season. You can't. Woody Marks is not running back one. He's just not. Getting a 28, about to be 29 year-old running back for a 4th-round pick is too much. We could have used that 4th-round pick to trade up to get Mike Washington from Arkansas. Fire Caserio. Hold on, I got to blow my nose. If my mom saw that, I think she'd have a heart attack. But I muted. But man, I was having trouble breathing there for a little bit. By the way, do you guys use air purifiers in your rooms or house? I got one the other night, and it was amazing. Absolutely amazing. In spite of me having to blow my nose there. Got it running right now, behind me down here. It's great. And it's really quiet right now. I'm not going to tell you the company name because they don't sponsor me. You remember, you get on the screen. Justin, you don't blow my nose. Which, by the way, Justin, with the bet of the century tonight. My dude put some cash down on Duke. I was doing daddy daycare, so I couldn't put the bet in. I was busy, got distracted, missed the bet. Duke -7. They won by freaking 40. Like the easiest money of all time. Old J-Bone hit the bet, my man. But he also, wait, Justin, can you do me a favor and text me that picture of the HOA? Bro, you guys, the HOA where he lives slapped one of those stickers on his car that you can't get off because his tail of his car was out of his driveway by this much. By this much. I wasn't there when Justin saw the sticker, but I can only imagine because you know what happens on those stickers. It's happened to y'all before. You try to peel it off and You get like this much off and it's all white. You try again and it's just all white. It sticks on there. You got to get an ice scraper to get it off. You got to get it soap and water. Then you try metal. And then you ended up scratching your tents. I don't know if that's what happened to him, but that's what happens in general. Send me that picture, Justin. I want to put on the show. It is hilarious, dude. It is. HOAs are the worst. We have parking battles in our HOA right now. People trying to charge like $1,200 to park out on the streets. And our streets are wide as hell in our area. Like, they're wide. People can park out there. There's no problems. There's no issues. If people just want to bitch to hear themselves post on the group Facebooks, like some of my buddies that are in here, they don't get involved in that. And that one they did. They rang them up. Man, HOA talk is always hilarious, especially when it has nothing to do with me. That's when it's my favorite. Senor Larry, why do you, I don't understand. So you think trading up to get, who did you want to get? Mike Washington, what were his, where's he supposed to go? So you want to trade up to get a running back. So you just don't want to get linemen? Super smart, dude. Yep. I wonder what his draft projection is. Second to third round. So that's where you would get a lineman. Come on, bro. Come on. If you go second, third, like, you're not talking about a line. You're not drafting a running back in the second or third round if you're the Texans. You need to use your first round, your second round, your third round. They have the 28th overall pick in the first round. Got to be a lineman. Or trade to wherever you need to be to get a lineman. And then the 38th and 59th overall in the second round pick, you got to get lineman. Round 3, you probably do lineman 2 at 69th overall. They probably won't do it all that. I'm just saying, you are not trading up to get a lineman in the second or third, or to get a running back in the second or third round. That would be so damn stupid. That would be beyond stupid. Like, you guys know that, right? You guys get that. I think you guys do. I think y'all do. It's not worth it. Not on this team. That's why you gotta go in with a scalpel and fine tune this roster, because you are close, but you're also really far from winning the Super Bowl. We saw what happens. Office Casper says running back is taken care of and now focus fully on Yep. Tight end, offensive line, defensive line. Oh, man knows ball. That's what time it is. You need to fine tune this roster because you're close, but you're not that close. Like, when you look in the NFL, you're in, I don't know, tier 3 when it comes to winning the Super Bowl. Let's take a look at all the teams. I'll take a screenshot. I mean, you didn't even win the division last year. So let's not act like next year is going to be some cakewalk or something like that, because it's definitely not. And the Chiefs are coming back. They're not going to be trash next year. I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs or not, but because they used to play in a really weak division. They now play in a really good division with the Chargers. I'm a Charger guy. Not like a fan, but I love Justin Herbert. I just love, if he was missing his 2 tackles and 2 Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater. Damn it, I don't know what I just opened here. What is this? AFC, NFC. Okay. Yeah, okay. So let's obviously start with the AFC. So Super Bowl contenders, Seahawks are obviously the champions. Patriots beat your ass. Broncos are better than you. Jaguars better than you. Steelers are not better than you. Bills on the cusp. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. At least your top 7, depending how you're probably 5, 6, 7. 5, 6, 7 in the AFC right now. Now depending what the Chiefs do next year. So you're somewhere between the 5th, 6th, or 7th best team in the AFC. You can obviously go higher than that. I'm not saying they can't win the AFC. That's not my point. My point is when you narrow it down, when you got later in the playoffs, I said going into the playoffs last year, they were going to wreck the Steelers, and they did, because the Steelers sucked. They got in because they played in a poor division, and they were manhandled by the Texans. The Patriots, we saw how much better they were. And I understand why. I understand that CJ Stroud played poorly. He was under pressure a whole bunch, though, and maybe they win that game if CJ takes care of the ball a little bit. But you know that, like, they weren't going to play well. Like, if they had to face the Seahawks, they weren't winning that game. Come on, man. They weren't. Seahawks were better. They played them in the season, and they were better than them. Rams were better than them. 49ers, once they got healthy, they were never healthy, which is crazy. So, I mean, I don't know. They're like 10, 11, 12. Probably, like, if the first power rankings that come out, where do you guys think the Texans will be? 14th? 13th? I mean, so much. There is so much unknown for a team that has the potential to win a Super Bowl. I don't know that is there a team in the NFL that has more unknown than the Texans that also have a chance to win the Super Bowl. Broncos, I don't know what Bo Nix's health situation is like. Like, is he going to be completely good to go next year? Broncos, good to go. Patriots, good to go. Seahawks, good to go. Bills, probably good to go. Chargers, assuming those tackles come back, they're good to go. Like, there's 5 teams that we know they're going to be good, barring injury during the year. Bears, probably going to be good. Eagles, good. Panthers on the rise. I'm not going to say like we know they're going to be good. Rams are going to be good, though. Packers, 49ers. We'll see what the Vikings do at quarterback. That's a big-time question mark, of course. So we'll stop there. I mean, that's 10, 11, 12 teams that we know what we're getting from those teams. When you look at the Texans, we don't know what we're going to get from them. And this is their damn offensive line that's under contract right now. I know it's not going to be this come opening day. I get that. But we don't know what we're going to get from that group. And it's the worst units on the team by far. It's also the most important unit and quarterback. And we don't know what we're going to get from CJ. And this is a massive year for CJ. I still think that the Texans aren't going to re-sign CJ this offseason. I think they make him prove it next year, and they're willing to pay him top dollar if he has a monster year next season versus getting like a couple $1 million discount this offseason, and then maybe, God forbid, he doesn't play well next year, and you're in a situation like Kyler Murray or Tua, where Kyler's going to get cut. Tua's, I don't know what his deal is, but he's no longer going to be on the Dolphins. And both those teams, the Cardinals and the Dolphins, are on the hook. So like that's the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is you give an extension to CJ Stroud, he can't figure it out, and you're now on the hook for that entire length of the contract. So, I mean, that's a massive question mark. Like, we don't know the answer. I think CJ is going to be good. I don't know how good. I do think that it's dependent a lot on the offensive line. The offensive line has to protect them. The offensive line has to be able to run the ball. You took care of part of that today with David Montgomery and the ability to run the ball. But I don't care who the running back is. It could be Saquon, it could be Christian, it could be Jahmyr Gibbs. It doesn't matter. If you have a shit offensive line, you're not going to run the ball well. You got to move bodies. If you can't move bodies, you're not scoring touchdowns. You're not gaining third down conversions. You're not moving the rock and containing the ball. You're not maintaining possession. The offensive line has to be first and foremost this offseason. And we saw part of it in a chess move today with Tytus Howard being on the move. But it also creates another spot that they have to fill. So it looks like the offensive line got worse. I give Nick Caserio. I think Nick Caserio is really, really good at finagling and moving the roster around to get what he needs. I don't trust him, nor do I trust the scouting department to find the offensive linemen that are actually good. And then if they can identify who's good, are they aggressive enough and willing to do what it takes to go get those guys? That's the biggest concern. And so to have the two biggest question marks at the two biggest positions and units on the team in the NFL at quarterback and offensive line, you can't go into next season being like, hey, we're this close. We're this close. We're this close if the quarterback. We're this close if the offensive line. I mean, that's like saying, it's like saying what is it saying? And that's a crazy gap to cover. Now, it's not, now to be fair, let's look at some more of these teams. It's not like the Jets, like, oh, we're this, like, first of all, you're not all this close. But if they were, who's their quarterback situation right now? Do they even have, like, it's not Justin Fields. Who is it? Like, who is it? You have to draft? Who do they even have on their roster right now? Or the Browns? Or the Dolphins? So it's not that bad. It's not that bad of a situation. Like, is Quinn Ewers the guy? Like, that question mark is significantly larger than the CJ Stroud. However, Quinn Ewers also isn't on the cusp of a massive 50 to 55, maybe $60 million per year contract extension that could put this franchise behind the 8 ball for the next 5-6 years. So, like, there's a lot of balls in the air, if you will, that Nick Caserio has to juggle, bet on, and bet right on. That's hard. Like, that's not easy. But they're also, like, if they hit, they're close. So, like, if Quinn Ewers hits, the Dolphins aren't close. Let's go to the other side of the league. JJ McCarthy, if he hits, I guess they're close, but that's even a bigger question mark. Falcons, Michael Penix, bigger question mark. Buccaneers are always interesting because Baker is good. Saints aren't close. Even if Tyler Shuck is the real deal, it ain't hitting. Commanders, I'm interested to see what the Commanders do next year because remember last year they were actually good. Giants, what a Jackson Dart, dude. You got to take care of your ass because if you don't, you're going to die on the field. It's no way to live. Arizona Cardinal, it's like the point is with the Texans, they're close, but there's so many serious question marks. And then when you start playing this in all the sports, like, well, if that, if this, if that, if this, the more ifs you have going into the season, bro, you're playing a fan's game. You're wishing. Justin says, if not CJ, then who would be the next to come in and replace? Well, that's the thing. Like, you're picking 28th, so you're not getting them this year. And if it's not CJ next year, you're not going to be bad enough to where you're picking top 5. But that's where you got to be to get a quarterback. So, like, it's not Davis Mills for all the people out there. Davis Mills is not a better quarterback than CJ Stroud. He's just not. Davis Mills can be good as a backup quarterback in small spurts and small sample sizes. He can go 3 games and play really well, and everyone's like, oh, hell yeah, that's the dude. He ain't doing it for 16, 17 games. He's had the reins. He couldn't do it. And let's not act like he lit it up when he was starting quarterback last year. He didn't. He did what was necessary, which was take care of the ball. And that's what CJ's got to do more of. But more is asked of CJ as well. But also, I always hate talking about it because it's not really fair. Like, that Patriots game was really, really, really bad. But it's also micro. You zoom in super, 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 super tight. That does not define CJ Stroud. That is not CJ's career. It wasn't his season. And the Steelers game, to be fair, both those games in the postseason, in the biggest moment, in the biggest spot, I get it, was really, really, really bad. He's aware of that. But that's not like what he's done the entire. They don't win the Chiefs game without him. They don't win a lot of games without him. Texans are still fortunate they got Stroud over Young in that draft class. We're gonna find out. And Bryce has looked. We're in the prison of the moment. I think I agree because I think CJ is going to be good. I do. But again, here goes the ifs. If the Texans do what is necessary to protect him, if they put the offensive line in place. And we haven't even talked about Nick Caley yet. We haven't even talked about the fact that Nick Caley was not able to figure out how to put together an offensive scheme that worked and then call plays. And then he got better, though. He did get better. It doesn't mean he got good, He got better. I do think he was good at times. I think the Colts game was probably his best moment, I think. If I'm remembering all of this correctly, I think the Colts game in Indianapolis was his best moment. So we now have added another if just for this conversation. Nick Caley, can he figure it out? Is CJ Stroud going to be good? Is the offensive line going to be good? And the problem with the offensive line, it's like compounding interest, but like in a negative way. To get the offensive line better, it's not that they just got to be better. You got to now rely that the scouting department and Nick Caserio can identify talent, not on one guy, not on two guys, not on three guys, but maybe on four guys. Okay, now they've identified the talent. If they get all four of those right, they then have to be aggressive enough and have enough draft capital or whatever it is to get in the right position to get the four guys, whether it's in free agency or the draft, and get them on their team. We're talking about a lot of things that got to go right with guys that haven't done this very well in the past. If we were talking about, all right, they got to revamp some places on defense or at wide receiver, I'd say, Nick Caserio and this guy in department, they are your dudes. They'll do it. I trust them every single time because they've proven year in and year out. They targeted Tank Dell. They targeted everybody on defense, Jaden Higgins and Jalen Knoll. Whether it's the right picks or not for what this roster needs, that's a different conversation. But they identified talent properly, and now they have them. They haven't done that on offensive line. I know they did it on Tay, but let's pump the brakes until it becomes a trend. Because until it becomes a trend, it was a one-off. So it's just there's a lot of things right now that have to go right. See, this is what I'm doing so that Mama Conk doesn't get upset. Although it was the Pellegrino bottles. This is nice. My wife got me this. I think because she had one, so she wanted to have something about drinking out of a straw, though. As a dude, as an alpha male, I don't like. By the way, if you guys follow Paul Gallant, make sure you let him know that he's not an alpha male. He hates that term. By the way, if you guys are here, thank you. I appreciate you all. Find me on TikTok, find me on Instagram, find me on Facebook. Of course, Kicking It with Kunkel on YouTube. And shout out to Socorro Tequila, Houston's favorite tequila. It's additive free. And like the video. Well, subscribe to my channel. Hit up the super chat. Get involved. Become a member, just like Justin did tonight. That dude's going to sleep like a baby. Oh, I clicked on this one by accident. But that's the motto for the Texans. I said this all offseason last year. Texans offense has to suck less. They don't have to be great because of the defense. They have to suck less. Which brings me to another point. We're going on an hour here, and I'll make this point quickly. The Texans defense was excellent last year. Are they going to be that good next year? And I don't say that because they're not good or it was luck or anything like that. They were healthy last year. Who's the best player for the Texans on defense? Will Anderson? Derek Stingley? I believe both those guys played every single game last year. Kamara Lassiter, I believe, missed one game. Jalen missed, Jalen Petrie, one or two. So my point being, the injury bug, man, was real friendly last year. Was real friendly. Official. Texas Vet. Hey, welcome, Texas Vet. Who, by the way, is a female. Because I said, I think, welcome back. What did I say, dude or man or something last time? My demos are like 87% guys. So if you're trying to meet someone in Texas Vet, this is the right room to do it, by the way. Now, I don't mean all you dudes out there being like ASL, all right? No age, sex, location, all right? Remember that in chat rooms? Don't be doing none of that nonsense in here. See? She says, I'd love to know, but I don't. Never tried it yet. I don't know what you're... Oh, shit. She said do it. She said ASLer. You gotta do that. It's okay. What are you referencing? Oh, take your break him out. So someone missed that story. Justin's a buddy of mine. He's an idiot, which is why he's a buddy of mine. I'd love to know, but I don't. What do you? Oh, all right. You got to hit up. You're a member, Texas Vet. I told you to do this. Hit up my Instagram or X or TikTok and DM me, and I'll get you a bottle. I'll get you a bottle. I have bottles galore. You want Blanco or Reposado? I got Blanco and Reposado. Hit me up and I'll get you a bottle. I promise. I promise. I take care of my viewers. If you're a member, you can get a bottle. Justin is going to get a bottle. Oh, you did? Did I reply? I don't see anything. Do you have the right person? I have a lot of spam and like other ones, but I don't see it. I'm looking. I would never duck, I promise. I'm looking. Yeah, I don't see it anywhere. Did you DM me or did you just like at me? Official Casper, my man, brand new YouTuber. Hit me up. So I'm putting, you guys can see my lower third, the scroll. Those are all my channels. Okay, TikTok, Instagram, X. That's where you can find me. Make sure you all follow me. Instagram's been going crazy recently. I'm putting a lot more effort into these channels as well. Trying to find sponsorships too. Sakura obviously is a sponsor of the show. So if you guys know any other brands and businesses that want to chip in, I can send them all my information that want to help me out, that want to get some great shout outs. As you guys can see, I take care of my sponsors big time. Big time. I love team aspect stuff. All right, so official, you follow me on Instagram. So hit me up on Instagram and let me know your information. We'll talk and we'll figure out. We'll get you a bottle of Sakura as well. Yeah, I mean, I know my name, Texas Vet, and you found me, but I have no DMs from you. I promise. It's like I don't see it at least. Send again. Or at me right now, just in public, then I can see it in my notifications. Man, see if you guys were members, the other people were members, you too could send me a complete chaos and confusion trying to figure out where you are. All right, whatever. I'll get you guys your stuff. I promise. Always. Will, what do you think the floor of the defense could be next year? Top 5, 10. The floor? I think if they stay healthy, the floor is 5. Like they were 2 last year, technically speaking, because they gave up 38, 36 against the Colts in that final game, which was a game that didn't count. Like it didn't matter. They rested everybody in the back half. 30, they gave up 30. So they ended up losing the point, the fewest points allowed to the Seahawks last year, but I think by 2 points, something like that. So I think that their floor could be 5. But like the worst if they're healthy. But if something happens, like health-wise, that's where it gets scary because they don't have great depth at corner. If something happened to Will Anderson or Danielle Hunter, God forbid, they don't have, obviously, no teams have 3 elite pass rushers. So like trying to replace those guys would be really, really tough. All right, Casper, I see. I didn't see the message, but I see that you said you sent a message, so I'll check that out after this. So the defense is what's up. It's just a matter of like injuries are lucky, and they got really lucky last year. Texans had the number 1 defense. So what happened to everyone saying D wins championships? Open comment to see what everyone thinks. So they had the number 2 defense, but I have wavered on this always and forever, in saying that great defenses don't win championships. Great teams win championships. And when I say that, what I mean is The defense can be great, but you can only ask it to do so much. It can't do everything. The offense can't be anemic. The offense can't be a joke. Like, you got to put that pie chart together. Like, the special teams can't be giving up huge plays. The offense has to score points. And the defense, if it's a championship caliber defense, can't do everything. You got to have the rest of it balance itself out. And I had Mike Golick on the show, and Golick made the point that defenses win championships, and I challenged him to push back on him, but he did have a good counter, and I do agree with him. So I'm not as stingent as, I think stingent's right. I'm not as gung-ho on that point as I used to be. His point is that if you do have a great defense, though, it allows you time for your offense to just have that strike, whether it's 1 or 2 strikes needed. It kind of forever keeps you in a game. Offensively, you can't rely on scoring 40 a game if you have a bad defense. That will fail, which we've seen with the Bengals. The Bengals can't even make the playoffs because their offense is elite, but their defense is so freaking bad. And that, God forbid, the offense has an off night, which happens more frequently than the defense having a bad day, year, week in and week out. You're not going to be any damn good. So I actually acquiesce to that quite a bit, more than I ever did. So defense wins championships, but your offense can't be so bad. And that's what happened. That's what happened. I think Texas Vet is trying again. I still don't have new messages from you, from anyone. It's at Will Kunkel V. You see it in the lower third. It's scrolling. Stringent was the word we were looking for. Tequila is stringent. Like, why is that? Stringent. Okay, I'm right. It just sounded weird. Strict, precise, exacting. All right. Northwestern. What's up? Hope Tommy T comes back next season. Yeah, he actually had a really good second half of. He did not have a very good first season in Houston. Last year, he was not very good. I thought he was significantly better last year. Justin, you still have not sent me that picture that your HOA putting that sticker on your car. I want to share that with everybody. All right, so members, you guys become members, and I'll get you a bottle of Socorro tequila. It's phenomenal tequila. Like, it's legit. Like, I just put it on the rocks and drink it. Like this video, please. Subscribe to the channel. Become members. Hype the video when it's done. I don't know that you can do it live. Can y'all do it live? Yeah, I just read, Jason, your message. Is that the is that who I think it is? Is that the tight end? Yeah. I think he'll be available late from what I've read about him. The Texans will probably draft a tight end late. And if he's there, like, I don't think they're going to chase Tanner. I don't think it's going to be that type of situation. If he's still available and the Texans are coming up to be on the board within a pick or two, and they like him, they might make a move to get him, and it doesn't cost them much. What's his draft projection now? It looks. Oh, he had a good combine. Yeah, so 4th to 5th round. Okay, that's what I was thinking. Day 3, 4th to 5th round. Okay, so I do not think the Texans are going to go get him. I think that if he's available, they'll take him. If they hadn't taken a tight end at that point, he would be perfect solution in the atrocious red zone. Here's where I'll push back on that. The Texans had the weapons to be good in the red zone. They didn't have the play caller to be good, and they didn't have the offensive line to be good. So the tight end wasn't going to make much of a difference. Like, they had trouble getting Nico Collins the ball. They weren't able to push the pile a foot against the Broncos 4 plays in a row on one possession. And then they thought the best way to get into the end zone was to run what was that, like an end around of some sort with Nico Collins, like something crazy. It was like, yo, what are we doing here? So the red zone was atrocious, but I don't think it was because of the lack of tight end. And remember, here's the key point, guys. The Texans are going to have a good draft. Remember, Ariante played pretty well last year, but it took him at least a month, if not more, to find his groove. And understandably so, he's a rookie, right? He's playing left tackle at the highest level, and it's going to be learning curves. So every player they draft next year, they're going to have to figure it out. They're going to have ups, they're going to have downs, they're going to have learning curves, they're going to learn growing pains. It's going to be a tough watch. If, hypothetically speaking, they have 3 rookies on the offensive line, like that's dangerous. That's really, really, really dangerous, especially if they have a rookie center and what is asked of the center in this system from identifying coverages or blitzes and the mics, et cetera. Like, you can figure out the mics pretty easily. But, they ask their center to do quite a bit. Do they want a rookie center to do that? Even if they nail the draft picks, like even if they go out, they nail the draft picks and they're pretty good, and then, you turn around 5 years later, like, oh my God, these are all Hall of Famers. They might, not have great rookie years, though. And the odds that they're going to be Hall of Famers are obviously 0. But, all right, Jason, tweet at me the link of his highlights, and I'll watch some for you. Although I probably watched more Houston football this year than I ever have before. In fact, I definitely have. And that's probably more than most. I don't think they pay Lindenbaum. I really don't. It doesn't seem. How old is Lindenbaum? Lindenbaum. Okay, that's just not the Lindenbaum I wanted. He's 25. Jeez, he's young. I mean, I guess maybe, but he's gonna command quite a bit of money. But maybe that's the guy they get. Like, maybe that's the one guy that they really want to go after. And if so, then okay. Because they're only really going to be able to give one guy big time money. If you care about PFF grades, he's got good PFF numbers. I mean, I know he's a multi-time Pro Bowler. How many times? 3 times. The last 3 years he's been a Pro Bowler. So certainly would be a welcome sight. They got spots all over and they cannot dumpster dive. I talked about this with Trevor Sikkema on that episode of Kicking It with Kunkel. You guys got to go back and watch that. If you want to talk about offensive line play and things that you can and can't do and how they've gone about it and what they need to do to go about this properly, go watch that interview after this. They can't dumpster dive. They cannot bargain hunt. They can't go out and try to figure this out with someone called City So or even Ed Ingram, who was pretty good last year at the beginning of the season, or even Trent Brown or Cam Robinson, who they paid and then I believe extended and then cut or traded. Like, that was stupid. Like they did with CJ Gardner-Johnson as well. They still owe CJ Gardner-Johnson. He's going to have a cap hit next year. So is Cam Robinson. So Shaq Mason at $7 million. Christian Kirk at $11 million. Tytus Howard is a $24 million cap hit next year. Does that still hold? Even on a trade? Like, I'm not Mr. Cap. Texans Cap is awesome at this stuff. The dude is freaking a genius. I don't know how he does it. Cole Popovich is the offensive line coach. Yeah, they're not moving on from him. I don't think that's a problem. I'm fine with that. I wish they'd made a change at all offensive coordinator, but that was never going to happen. After today, Stover and Brevin Jordan ought to already be packing. They gave Brevin Jordan another contract extension last year, like another year, which I love Brevin Jordan. He's a great dude, but just hurt all the time. Cade Stover has unfortunately been very underwhelming. I talked to a coach before the Hall of Fame game that said, like, watch out for that dude his rookie year to see what he could do. Nothing ever came to fruition. No, Justin, text me the pic, dude. I'll save it and upload it. You can't upload it. For the tight end spot, I really like Eli Raridon from Notre Dame. Best blocking tight end in this draft. The problem is you're not going to get. I don't think the Texans are going to go out and get a great tight end unless they're available late in the draft. And great tight ends can obviously go early on. That's the only reason I say that. I would like to double down on O-line with Caden Proctor in the first and Caden McDonald in the second if he's there. I like that. I do like that. The projections, they're so hard to. They're so hard to figure out because they change so much between now and then. Like I'm super interested to see if Sam Heck, the center out of Kansas State, if his draft stock skyrockets into the second day. I don't think it will, or into the second round. But that's also another reason I like to have draft experts on the show, because they know so much more than I do in that regard. I know enough, but I don't know clearly enough. Which brings me to my next point. Working on having two big time guys on for ahead of March Madness. So I'll let you guys know about that when I get those officially booked. Oh, wait. I think I do. Okay, Evan Miyakawa I'm going to have on. If you don't follow him on X, awesome. His website and his follow on X is fantastic. Evan Miya, M-I-Y-A. He's going to come on next. I can't remember when I'm going to air it, but nonetheless, he's coming on. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up for the night. I'm tired as heck. Had a full day of daddy daycare, which was fun. Isabella is now 6 months old, so that's a cool time and a cool age to have her to myself all day. Well, mom is a nurse and being a hero. We're around here farting around. I appreciate everybody that chimed in tonight. If you haven't, like the video, subscribe to the channel, become a member. I'll hook you up with Socorro tequila. It's the best tequila you're ever going to have. I drink it on the rocks. I'm telling y'all, it's elite. It's not like that Espolon crap or something that you got to mix with. Espolon's not that bad, though. This is better. This is definitely better. It's affordable. It's a good price. It's free if you become a member and hit me up. Okay, wait. All right. Justin just sent me this picture. I just saved it. Let's see if I can get it into the group chat. I told you that his HOA, Justin just became a member. It's a buddy of mine. It took him a long time to become a member. That's another topic for another day. So his HOA slapped this green sticker on his car, right? The one that you can't get off, because he wasn't parked fully in his driveway. You guys ready for this? That is crazy. And then they're like, why aren't you parking in the garage? It's like, setting your damn business. I can't fit the car in the garage, first of all. And you guys know that sticker is not coming off unless you got that pink stuff. You got soap and water. You got an ice scraper, which you sure as hell don't have one here in Houston. So my boy had to work for an hour to get that thing off. He's got to go an HOA meeting, I believe Wednesday, which I want to go. Justin, I want to go. I want to watch. I want to enjoy this, sit in the back and laugh my ass off at your frustration and your annoyance with these people. HOA people are the worst. They are the absolute worst. Whoever put that sticker on without knocking on his door should be ashamed of themselves. I hope they're in here. I hope they are. I mean, like, knock on the door and be like, hey, they're telling us if it's not you doing it, like you got to move your car, like whatever. But to just slap it on is crazy. In your own driveway, dude. In your own driveway, because you're 2 feet out. Like, what's going to happen with those 2 feet? What is the point of pissing everybody off? What's the point of pissing all your people off? I don't get it. That is savage, dude. That thing is a bitch to get off. I've had at least one, not several. I've had a couple boots too. Yeesh, bro. I like this idea, y'all. Can we just come up with things that Justin should do to other members in the neighborhood until he finds out who slapped that damn sticker on his car? God, imagine if they put it on your windshield or something. They should have put it on your sky roof. Just piss you off like crazy. It's Jolly Rancher. So what, you like wet the Jolly Ranchers and then they'll stick? Oh my God, dude. I mean, just like if you rub like Crisco on their windshield, get that. That would take for like soap and water and getting that off right away. It's going to take forever, and it's going to leave streaks and grime all over it. Man, it's always nice to plan revenge on the internet so everyone can see it and then know exactly who did it, why, where, and how. Boing. I need more sounds. Oh, explosion. Yeah, Justin's gonna be hearing that. Justin's gonna be hearing that. All right, y'all. I want to wrap this thing up. It's time to get to bed. Oh man, you're right. They do. There's no sun in Houston though. So, all right, you guys, find me on TikTok, Instagram. Follow me on all that stuff. Subscribe to Kicking It with Kunkel as well if you haven't. If you have, I appreciate y'all. If you have subscribed, make sure you guys become a member as well. It's another level that you can do to help support me and be part of the channel. I'll get you a bottle of Socorro tequila if you do that. And for those that hit up the super chat tonight, I don't think anyone actually did tonight. Shame on you. Shame on all of you. Like the video on YouTube though. Get it out into the world. Help me out. I thought today was a good day for the Texans. I give them a grade of incomplete because the Tytus Howard trade is a very much a chess move. There are several moves to follow. This is the first of many moves, and if it's not, then it's an F. So tonight, I give today it's incomplete, but like okay, separately, I give the Montgomery trade a B plus, maybe A minus, just B plus because you had to overpay. You had to overpay, but it was a very necessary overpay and a worth it overpay. So if it's a worth it overpay, is it even an overpay? That's gonna do it. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all. Have a good night. Peace.